Hi everyone, Drini here, and welcome to my channel. So one of the bad things about really being in a bear phase of a lengthened cycle is that there's not a lot of price action going on. Whether it's upside momentum or capitulation, sometimes in the middle of a bear phase, things can really go quite stale. So I put up a poll a few days ago asking you guys if you want to move up, so to speak. So instead of covering gaming cryptos, we move one layer up to cover the layer 1 blockchains that they reside in. And the reason for that is because the layer 1 blockchain performance does have an impact on our crypto games. Because if everybody abandons a particular layer 1, then you will find that your games will not be functioning correctly. Also, understanding the blockchains that these games are in really allows us to understand what are the broader macro trends that will happen once things capitulate or once things go back to the upside. So today we're going to talk about HIVE. So HIVE is where Splinterlands resides. And one of the good things about understanding HIVE is a lot of Splinterlands assets traded in the secondary market actually have to deal with HIVE. So we need to understand HIVE price action in order to plan out potential scenarios to take advantage of it to either accumulate more assets or understand when to buy or sell assets and convert them to HIVE. And let's dive in. So I have the HIVE blockchain right here. And if you notice, on a weekly time frame, ever since its inception back in April of 2020, it pretty much underwent an 8-month downtrend where it fell as much as 89% before the subsequent move to the upside. Now, when you look at it from a weekly time frame, one thing that you can actually see here is we are still not done with this particular price action. If you notice right here, after the subsequent 8-month downtrend, we have begun a very long 5-wave Elliott wave structure where this is your wave 1 right here, this is your wave 2, this is the wave 3, and right now we are in the middle of a wave 4 correction before a subsequent wave 5 destination in the future. That is of course assuming that we do not go into a prolonged bear market care of Bitcoin. So the thing to note about HIVE right here is the wave 4 correction is undergoing a C wave right now. So this is the A wave right here. This is the B wave high when we had a relief rally. And unfortunately, we are still in the middle of the C wave before a subsequent correction. So for those of you who have been watching my channel for a long time, then you would know by now that C waves are very hard to predict. We can either go flat like this, or we can go lower, or this is actually the end and we can just bounce back from here. It really depends on what Bitcoin does. But right now, given that Bitcoin continues to be weak, then the assumption that we have is we will eventually break through this particular structure and go on a C wave correction that it could potentially bring us back to the A wave lows or go past this. Looking at HIVE on a daily time frame, as you can see right here, this particular downtrend is adhering to a major support structure that we cannot afford to break, otherwise we continue to the downside. This structure is what I'm talking about. This particular price level of around 80 cents cannot fall because if you fall, we are in for a major downtrend if we lose this 80-cent support. So right now, as you can see, this particular price coil up right here is forming a descending triangle right here. So a descending triangle, for those of you who are not aware, is typically a bearish structure, but only once you break through this particular support level right here of around 80 cents. If we break through this particular price threshold, what's going to happen is we will have a technical target, which is the height of this particular triangle. So let's say we break through from here. We have a technical target of around 46 cents if this 80-cent level is lost. But we're not going to go there overnight. So typically, when it comes to these types of structure, depending on how many times the price levels hit the trend line, then you are going through it in phases. So phase 1, for example, is we have 2 technical targets here. One would be in the 50-cent range and the other one would be on the 46. So we cannot lose this. However, if Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto markets recover, you can expect that we can perhaps bounce off from here, eventually coil up like this. If we break through the upside, then whenever the break happens, then these technical targets are reflected on the upside, where you have this structure. So for example, if we break through it here, then the particular price level or the target that we will aim for is 1.74. That would be the technical target of this particular price structure. So that is the bearish case. What about the bullish case? If Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto markets recover from here, then what we're looking at is we are looking at the 5th wave final destination for HIVE, at least within this cycle, where we can aim for the 1618 of around $9.22 right here. If this is the end of the C wave, then you can expect that we can start our journey to the upside, where this is your potential wave 1 right here, for example, where we go to the 050, go back to the 382 or the 236 as support, then rally past the 1.272 right here of around $5.32, backtest the one support before our eventual destination of around $9.29. However, this is of course very dependent on what Bitcoin will do in the next couple of months. So if you want to get into HIVE, then what is a good strategy to do? Once again, it is very similar to our gaming crypto strategy. It really depends on what Bitcoin does. Assuming that Bitcoin continues to go on a downtrend right here, so let's say this particular structure breaks to the downside, what you want to wait for if you want to get into HIVE is you want to wait for capitulation events very similar to this, and very similar to this, and very similar to this. Or even better, very similar to the March capitulation or the end of the bear market. So you are looking for major candles to the downside if you want to get into HIVE. So the way it works is, it is better to have a cash position, wait for a capitulation candle eventually. So let's say Bitcoin has finally done its capitulation candle, see where the HIVE price is at that particular level, and that is your entry point if you want to invest in HIVE. Otherwise, the other strategy, of course, is if Bitcoin recovers from here, you want Bitcoin to be above the EMA structure or above this particular 44,786 price level, because this is a confirmation of the Bitcoin uptrend. When we confirm that we are finally done with this current correction, then it gives you more certainty to the upside. So getting into HIVE would be quite easy. Once Bitcoin reaches that level, whichever HIVE lands on an upside level, then that would still be your entry point, because at least at that particular price level, when Bitcoin recovers, you are guaranteed that we are now back on an uptrend and most of these altcoins will have a positive trajectory to the upside. But everything I say here, not financial advice.